Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Ready for a deep dive? Today, we're diving into the glamorous world of fashion, right? Getting to the bottom of a style so revolutionary, they just called it the new look.
It's true. And you might be surprised at how much history, how much cultural baggage is actually stitched into those two words.
Stitched is right. Speaking of history, we've got a blast from the past to get us started, a little quiz show clip that hints at what made this look so iconic. Listen closely.
Hmm.
What name was given to the influential fashion style introduced by Christian Dior in 1947, characterized by rounded shoulders, a cinched waist, and a full skirt that created an hourglass silhouette? This style marked a return to feminine elegance and extravagance in post-war fashion. Quote, Christian Dior in 47. A silhouette that turned heads. Makes you realize there's a whole story behind this new look phenomenon, huh?
There certainly is. To understand it, you really have to picture Paris in 1947. The war had just ended, but things were still so difficult. Austerity measures were everywhere. And then Christian Dior debuts this stunning first collection. I mean, the doors of his salon swing open, and bam, the new look explodes onto the scene.
An explosion of fabric, you could say. I'm picturing those photos, those tiny waists, the full skirts, yards and yards of luxurious fabrics.
Yeah.
Such a stark contrast to the war years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, during the war, fabric was rationed. Practicality was key. Everything about women's clothing was more masculine, more utilitarian, boxy shoulders, shorter hemlines. Dior's designs, a complete reversal, almost like a rebellion against all those wartime restrictions. He brought back these lavish fabrics, silk, velvet, and get this yards and yards of taffeta.
Talk about making a statement.
Yeah.
But not everyone was happy with this extravagant use of fabric so soon after the war, were they?
You're right. Some people found it excessive, even unpatriotic. Imagine the headlines. Dior uses enough fabric for 10 dresses. And fashion journalist Anne Fogarty, she even called it, get this, a beautiful straitjacket. She was accusing Dior of, trying to force women back into traditional roles.
So we've got this real clash of ideals. On one hand, this return to luxury and beauty, but on the other, a post-war world still dealing with shortages and, well, reality. Makes you wonder, did those criticisms derail the new look?
Well, it definitely struck a nerve, but I think that's because it went beyond just hemlines and fabric.
You're saying it became something bigger.
It became a symbol, a symbol of hope, a return to a sense of normalcy, abundance. People had been through so much hardship, and this felt like a breath of fresh air.
And for women especially, I mean, after years of wearing practical, almost masculine clothing, it must have felt significant to have this new silhouette.
Absolutely. Think about the societal pressure women faced after the war. They were being told to leave their jobs, return to the home, embrace this traditional femininity, and Dior's designs. With their emphasis on the female form, they perfectly captured that whole cultural shift.
It's wild how something as seemingly superficial as clothing can reflect these profound societal changes. But okay, beyond the controversy, beyond the history, did the new look actually last?
Oh, it did more than last. It shaped the next decade of fashion. That classic 1950s silhouette you see in movies, the tiny waist, the full skirt, the emphasis on curves, that's all thanks to Dior's new look.
So Dior basically provided the blueprint for an entire era of style.
Exactly. And his influence went even further than that. Even today, you'll see echoes of the new look on runways, red carpets. Designers reinterpret it, give it a modern spin. But those core elements, that cinched waist, the feminine silhouette that's timeless.
It's incredible to think a single designer, back in 47, could have that kind of lasting impact. Makes you wonder what fashion historians will say about our current styles. But before we jump ahead, let's stick with the new look for a bit longer. So we've talked about the look, but it feels like the new look's influence went way beyond just hemlines and silhouettes. It was a whole cultural phenomenon. It really makes you think, what were some of the less obvious ways it left its mark on the world?
Well, for one, I think you have to talk about how it put Paris back on the map, fashion-wise.
Because of Dior.
Yeah. See, after the war, other cities, like New York, were starting to become these fashion hubs, But then Dior comes along with the new look, and suddenly Paris is back on top. Really reestablished it as the place for luxury, for elegance, for really groundbreaking design.
It's almost like he single-handedly put Paris back on the map, fashion-wise at least.
Pretty much. And that's continued all the way to today. You know something else? The new look really changed the whole way we think about fashion photography.
Oh, really? I never thought about that.
Yeah. Photographers like Richard Avedon, they were capturing this incredible drama, this movement in the new look in a way that no one had really done before. It's like they elevated fashion photography to an art form.
Wow. To think one designer, one collection really has such a ripple effect. It's incredible.
It really shows you the power of fashion, the way it captures a very specific moment in time. I mean, like the flapper dresses of the 1920s,
Yeah. Yeah.
total rebellion, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the new look, all those anxieties, but also all the hopes of a world rebuilding after the war. It's a great reminder that fashion isn't really about the clothes. It's about the stories those clothes tell, what they make you feel, the way they reflect everything that's going on around us.
It's like cracking a code, right? You look at something someone's wearing, you can see all these cultural forces that shaped it. Well, there you have it. Next time you see a photo, maybe a movie. Maybe even a person walking down the street in a full skirt, that tiny waist. Remember the new look and everything it stood for. Beauty, controversy, this hope for a brighter future. It really makes you wonder, what will be the defining look of our time? And what will people 50 years from now think when they see it?
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.